Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and today we're going to be talking about Li Qiaolong. Now, despite growing up in the Mishima family, Li isn't related to any of the members by blood. You see, at a very young age, Li's parents had died, and he had nowhere else to stay. So Li was living on the streets, and ended up having to fight in order to survive. Now, one day, his fighting capabilities were noticed by one Heihachi Mishima. Impressed by the boy's untapped potential, Heihachi would adopt him, bringing him into his home. Now, this wasn't done out of the generosity of his own heart. You see, Heihachi had done this in order to irritate his son Kazuya. As Kazuya was also heir to the Mishima Zaibatsu, Heihachi wanted Kazuya to earn it. Now, due to Heihachi's manipulation, the two had a rift between each other, and the two somewhat became rivals. Now, Li would in fact travel to the United States. You see, he was sent here because of Heihachi, as since Li was extremely young and wasn't brought up in an extremely wealthy family, he was sent to the best schools in the entire world. Now, despite this, Li did keep up with his training, and in fact did train with martial law and Paul Phoenix, which explains why he retained some of their moves in his arsenal. Now, when Li returned back home, he was in fact still able to go toe to toe with Kazuya, and this in turn led to him earning the nickname of the Silver-Haired Demon. Now, when the first King of the Iron Fist tournament was announced, Li would enter, as he was interested in running the Mishima Zaibatsu. However, things did not quite go his way, as during the tournament he went toe to toe with his adoptive brother. For the first time ever, he was defeated by Kazuya, but Kazuya wouldn't stop there, and soundly defeat Heihachi, gaining control of the Mishima Zaibatsu. Now, with Kazuya in control of the Mishima Zaibatsu, Li had become an underling of his, and instead of being given a rather high profile job, he was rendered to being nothing more than a simple secretary. He in fact at one point was approached by Wang, who would ask him to restore the honor of the Mishimas, but Li displayed no interest, and in fact declined the old man's offer. Now, during the King of the Iron Fist tournament too, he would enter and in fact see Heihachi again. The old man had survived and had come back to reclaim the Mishima Zaibatsu, and needless to say, Heihachi was pissed at Li, due to the fact that he was still working for Kazuya. So after Heihachi had beaten Li and Kazuya, he would gain control of the Mishima Zaibatsu, and in fact throw out Li, preventing Li from ever having the chance to inherit the Mishima Zaibatsu. Now, for many years, Li fantasized about killing Heihachi, but when he came to realize that the old man most likely only had a few years left in him, he decided to leave it, and Li in fact distanced himself from fighting and moved to the Bahamas, where he wanted to live a bachelor lifestyle. Now, despite this, he had caught word of a huge sale going on at the G Corporation. Li, realizing that there is more going on here, hacks into their company and learns that there was a Mishima raid on a G Corporation facility. He would also come across some information that the G Corporation were working on some kind of life form and that it was still incomplete. Now, with all of this information being brought up about the Mishima Zaibatsu, his love for fighting was somewhat rekindled, and the King of the Iron Fist Tournament 4 had just been announced, so Li would see this as the perfect opportunity to enter. However, he was aware that he couldn't enter under the alias of Li Qiaolong, so he created the identity of Violet, a very wealthy CEO of Violet Industries, and someone who was passionate about fighting. Now, Li did fairly well in the tournament, at least that's until he met the recently resurrected Kazuya, who was in fact the project that the G Corporation had been working on that Li was reading about earlier. He did fairly well under his Violet persona, but this sadly wasn't enough, and he was defeated by Kazuya. Now, the time between Tekken 4 to 5, Li catches word about Heihachi's apparent death, and believe that Kazuya has once again become the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. So Li would seek out Kazuya and want to take vengeance against Kazuya for stealing his rightful place. Now, when Li enters the King of the Iron Fist Tournament 5, he learns that's not in fact held by Kazuya, but Kazuya's grandfather Jinpachi. So by learning this information, it kills all motivation for Li to want to participate in this. So he in fact drops out of the tournament. Now, during the end of Tekken 5, Jin becomes the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu and causes an all-out war against the entire world. This in turn leads to a battle between the Mishima Zaibatsu and the G Corporation, and the two sides are constantly battling each other. Now, Li does appear very briefly in the scenario campaign, where upon his defeat, he displays a large interest for Alyssa. He's also informed by Lars of their desire to stop Jin Kazama, and that by realizing that they're in fact on the same side, he decides to assist the two. They even help Li when one of his friends, Julia Chang, is trapped inside a G Corporation branch. So Lars and Alyssa go out and help her. Now at the end of the scenario campaign, he can be seen with Lars as they're repairing Alyssa after she's gravely damaged during the climax of the game. Now Lee does return in Tekken 7 as himself and the ability to wear his Violet persona. Now not much is really known about him in Tekken 7 here, but he has been seen in the trailers of the game to play a rather significant part in the story, since it is circulating around the Mishimas. But yeah guys, that's really it for Lee. I hope everyone here enjoyed this video and has shined a little bit of light on someone who isn't really that known in the Mishima family. Now personally, I think this character is excellent. Sorry, I honestly could not resist doing that. But yeah, I really like Lee as a character. I really like how he kind of walks on the borderline of hilarious character and cool at the same time. But what do you guys think about Lee? Do you like him or do you hate him? Please let me know. Also, feel free to put down in the comments below any characters you'd like to see me discuss about on my next episode of History of Tekken. Now before we wrap up here guys, if possible, let's try getting this video to 750 likes, as it's a great way of supporting myself and this channel. Now as always guys, please comment, like, subscribe and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care and I will see you all next time.